The aftermath of a bloody battle at the Averda landfill site in Johannesburg, in an alleged fight between rival gangs for control of the dump site.
But who's fighting then?
All of them, they are fighting. They've got guns. They've got guns.
So what groups are they?
We are my, all of us.
The fights broke out when Averda stopped reclaimers who had an agreement with the landfill's previous owners from accessing their site. It's alleged that Lesotho's notorious famo gangs have taken over the landfill and are exploiting the vulnerability of reclaimers.
People are being forced to pay protection fees and all those things, where you find reclaimers are actually forced to pay about 300 rand every Friday to all these gangsters. And if you're not able to pay that amount, you are going to be killed.
Police say they are investigating if the same gangs are behind the killings of rival factions of Zama Zamas, and whether they have also taken control of waste reclaiming.
10 people were stoned and killed, and a preliminary investigation from the police revealed that the victims were from Lesotho and the perpetrators were from Lesotho.
The reclaimers say they are often robbed of their recyclables by the gangs. If they don't comply with the gangs' demands for money to work at the landfill, they are intimidated, terrorized and beaten. The brutal assassination of a reclaimer in June last year has created a climate of fear in the community. After receiving a tip-off, we arrive on the scene of a brutal attack on reclaimers outside the Averda landfill site. Having covered a series of investigative stories on the conflicts between the Dubai-based company and reclaimers, we were shocked at what we saw.
They've got guns.
I see.
Yeah.
So what groups are there? Is it the My Boysons and...
We are my, all of us.
So-
All of us.
So who's fighting with who?
The ones who are in the mountain now is the ones who are fighting.
So My is fighting with My.
Yeah.
In June last year, following the killing of Johannes Zama, also known as Dumisani, an agreement was reached between different groups of reclaimers to take turns accessing the landfill to prevent fighting amongst each other.
There are various groups that are operating in that area, and we've got those that call themselves that are staying in My. They also call themselves My. There are those that are staying in Boysen, informal settlement, and there are those that are staying within the vicinity in that area. Before they used to work together, like in one day, all of them they are in the dumping site, scavenging the same day. So because they couldn't work along, they made an arrangement to say, why don't we give ourselves turns, to say this group will come on this particular day and the other group will come on this particular day, just to avoid clashes in the area. For us, that arrangement was working very well until Saturday, when we received a report of this incident.
When the reclaimers came under attack on the landfill, the injured managed to make it to safety through the front gate.
Last year, last year, one of I'm twinzero go tsena tanki. Ka di holwana le boesi. A ga taba boesini ba tla ya maga. Ba boetse a pepe ba kena ho bona. Hobane ba batla ga dula ga patala ba re a ka to bana ga na dithunya. re itshwarela melao ene ga rena batho bano re ipuela mae kwana re tlhopheile re go tla re botlela bana dilo ga re fitlha mona gona le batho ba bana le dithunya ba batla gore kala go tsela bekeng yona ena ne fela la bobedi mo ntseng ba batla gore ba re buise ba itse ke na le sethunya ke tswa ke ne ke le kantolo ke se.
The injured reclaimer is reeling in pain with symptoms of dehydration.
Ukhona busy ambulance.
Yeah, amaphoyisa bathi bayibhizi.
Bayibhizi. Ithatha isikhathi nayo ukuthi. Bathi bayibhizi.
Because the police they call the ambulance as well. Guys, no.
Ngoba amakhathi ngapha nangapha.
3 hours later, the ambulance arrives. The situation is tense. Earlier, we argued with the police when they told us to stop filming. They said we must delete our footage. When the medics arrive, they demand we stop filming. Otherwise, they say, they won't treat the injured.
No, no, it doesn't matter, bro. I don't like it. Please. Don't do it. I'm just going to go and sit in the ambulance. Then you can shoot this guy. I've asked you so nicely. Now I'm going to be rude.
We film sparingly and capture what we can under the circumstances.
We believe that the blunt objects were used looking at the injuries, because one of the victims sustained injuries in the head, one in the leg and the other one the ear. The one that was that sustained injuries is the one that they didn't want to be taken to hospital.
A day later, Averda responds by reinforcing its security and fencing off the landfill. The reclaimers protest, demanding to be allowed in.
Saturday balwana la ka mo dumping. And ntho re ipotsa yona ke iwana yona papa hona. Batho ba lwaneng ke ba ha maema, batho ba ha maema ne ba salwane. Hona le batho ba tlileng ka mo. Ba balance batho ba ha maema ba le ka mosebetsi. Ke batho ba ne ba sebetsa ka ofela mara ba se ba khepile serious side tse itu. Ba tlile ka mo ba lwantsha batho ba. Ene ha ba tlile le maponisa. Batho ba keneng ka mo ba lwantsha batho ba. Ha maponisa a tlameha kena dipakeng ba dumellana hore ho lwane ka hara tambi ka hara mosebetsi wa rona. Jwale ntho eo e se etsa ke re ke yona e bankile monyetla hore ba kwalle ka lebaka la yona. Ena ha se yona e go ba cause ntse re tseba hore ha ba batla re kena ka mo re sebetsa.
The African Reclaimers Organization represents the different factions of reclaimers. They say after the attack, they met with the reclaimers, including other stakeholders, to address the issues of gang-related violence at Averda.
We discussed the problem of influx, the problem of proper documentations, and we discussed about the criminal elements that are actually happening within the landfill, and how to resolve all those matters. And we found out that a lot of reclaimers there that are coming from Lesotho are actually not documented, and most of them were actually afraid to attend the meeting because they are afraid of their criminal charges that they are facing at Lesotho. So they thought that probably they are going to be screened.
Averda has declined to comment on the recent attacks on reclaimers at its landfill. It's alleged that the perpetrators of violent crimes at Averda are members of the notorious Siagi and Tereni gangs wanted for serious crimes.
Taking a look at how the youth consume news.
I prefer using social networks for information.
I happen to find reading news on my cell phone more convenient than reading news in newspapers.
I do follow various news sites there and I get the links
to the news articles that I read every single day.
I prefer using the night to watch to get the news because of it's convenient.
Watch Media Monitor Sundays at 9 a.m.
The Averda landfill site is part of the Johannesburg landscape. It used to be an old mine dump. The mine sand slowly gave way to tons of recyclable materials that the company buries on the landfill. According to Aver, it's this valuable waste that attracts migrants to the city of gold.
Ha ke tla le mala ke na le beke ya bobedi ke tlile kwana go tla ke sebetsa ke nentse ke sebetsa matlatsana kwana ntse ke itshukola hona mosebetsi ona o la ka fumana wa tšhelete ha e nyanyana ke tla kwana mona Joburg mo teng ke ha maema e hlile a ke tsebele hantle le ga ha maema e no ke fihla le batho bana ba qetelletseng ban le matsa le ha ka hla mono nka mo tshwantsanya nyana fela go mothena ya ka mmona ha maema eno e hlile a ke ba tsebele hantle.
39-year-old Masobe Moraki's dream of a better life in Johannesburg almost cost him his life. Having been discharged from hospital after the brutal attack at Averda, he tells us what transpired the day he was injured.
Batho bona bao ba ntse ba ntse ba ya ka mo ba ntse ba fela ke sa tsebe bona ba ya ka matsatsi a fe ba le bone re ile le bona mara batho ba ba fumana ka mo bona ba ntse ba ya tsatsi le leng jwale ha ka batho ba ngutile gore tšhelete ya tswa ka mo.
Moraki says when he saw the weapons they were carrying, he realized they were in serious trouble.
Ke bone ba tshwere melami ba kwana ba le holenya ja hola batho bana ba ngotlile ba le ba koloing e tshoile ne le melami ke ba bona melami ka bona le mahumo a te le tsona di phanga tseno ke ba ngotlile se ba la haufinyana ba ne se ba le ka koloing eno no ke me jwala ka mona ha ba fihla ba ngotla ha ba ka ba ba le hlile ho hanga ke tsebe bona ho tshwego eng kapo didunyane ntse di teng ha ke tsebe ke bone melami le mahumo le tsona di phanga sai ka tla ho tloa mona fela mona ha ke tsebe na go tlwekile kae jwa.
He says the gangs are aligned to rival groups of Basotho traditional music. It's reported that over the years, several famo artists and fans were killed in Lesotho and South Africa in turf wars.
Batho ba no ke batho ba motse o thong ke mafite bona ba ha bodibini tsena tse di hlaisa se agi di tere ke bona batho bana ba tlo kontso thwe ba lwana haholo ka gana ka mona ba thunyana.
Police say they are investigating gang-related violence in South Africa involving Lesotho's notorious famo gangs.
We've got our intelligence on the ground. We got information that there are groups that are operating this terrain. So, but we've been asking people, especially the victims, the people that are the victims of this group, to come forward and give us a statement. So that's our challenge, that most of the people, especially the people that are regarded as victims, they don't want to come forward and give us a statement.
They say they haven't ruled out links in a recent spate of killings between rival factions of Zama Zamas to the violent crime that is allegedly spilling over into the waste reclaiming sector.
Most of the people that are involved in the Zama Zamas are Lesotho nationals. If I can tell you, we had an incident that is still under investigation in Matholeville recently, whereby 10 people were stoned and killed. And a preliminary investigation from the police revealed that the victims were from Lesotho and the perpetrators were from Lesotho. So that in itself, it shows that there is an infighting.
Final on set. Trans Travel, scene 1, take 1.
At Trends Travel, we love traveling. What if I told you we'll be traveling back into time? Yes, back to the 1950s.
We are here today to explore. I never miss an opportunity to get involved.
Well, let me get my cameraman to actually help me find out who's upside down between me and the house.
I think one of the best things to do when you are here at the Eye is to dive.
I'm here to learn how to make home combo. And it's a wrap.
An absolute decimation from the whole share index.
Stock's feeling an enormous amount of pain. I think a lot of people are very concerned.
We already expect the Reserve Bank to act aggressively.
Don't over-pressurize them. Leave the conversation to me and the governor of the South African Reserve Bank.
Meter taxi drivers, you find them a lot when you come out from their arrivals. They say business today particularly has been very bad and they're very concerned.
Individuals will not be allowed to leave their homes except under strictly controlled circumstances. All shops and businesses will be closed except for pharmacies, laboratories, banks, essential financial payment services. The nationwide lockdown is necessary to fundamentally disrupt the chain of transmission across society. I call on all of us, one and all, to play our part and our role as South Africans.
Jangalala were the first group of reclaimers at the Genesis landfill site 2 decades ago. Yeah, they celebrate their court victory against Averda. They were inducted by the previous owner's waste giant, but in 2015, when the multinational waste company bought the landfill, it put a stop to them collecting waste. Arrow says this created an ideal situation for the gangs to take control.
Averda also is to be blamed for this because they actually terminated a contract that they had with the reclaimers from the start. And this made people, all these gangsters, to gain access to the landfill. Now there's two groups, there's Sayachi and there is those called Terena. And those people, they are fighting amongst each other. So this is the groups that are actually influencing all these fightings in a way that people are being forced to pay protection fees and all those things, where you find reclaimers are actually forced to pay about 300 rand every Friday to all these gangsters. And if you're not able to pay that amount, you are going to be killed.
Leo says without access control to the landfill, it soon became a free-for-all, with different groups accessing the dump site. It's then that the first incidents of gang-related violence occurred, and also when Averda approached the courts.
Averda went to court ex parte, so they went to court on their own without inviting the reclaimers. And when they went to court, they claimed that these reclaimers are nameless and faceless, and that they had no way to identify them. And that's why they were coming to court on their own. But they said to the court that they would want one copy to be attached to the main gate of the landfill site, that the reclaimers could read it from there. This is strange because already in their papers they were saying that they were dealing with over 200 reclaimers.
The courts granted Averda an interim eviction order. The Red Ants were there to help the court sheriff, but instead they violently attacked the reclaimers outside the landfill site. Several of them were seriously injured.
So the Red Ants go on site to support the sheriff in serving the order. And the sheriff is there simply to read the order granted by the court. But we end up with them assaulting the waste pickers.
The eviction order has since been cancelled after the court found that Averda had acted in bad faith when it was established that the company did in fact have a relationship with the reclaimers.
They did act in bad faith because they knew these people and they did not disclose that to the court. And that is the essential part of the court order, which is to say you knew about these people and you failed to disclose the material facts about these people before the court. And as such, the court did not confirm the interim interdate.
Police say in 2016 they arrested several Lesotho nationals for crimes at the landfill that range from murder, robbery, and possession of illegal firearms. They were convicted in 2018 and are serving lengthy prison sentences. In the murder case of Dumisani, the perpetrators are still roaming free, living amongst the community.
There is a case of murder that was opened last year, but no one has been arrested as yet. But the investigation is continuing because we are, as part of our investigation, we are trying to get people to come forward with, especially witnesses, to come forward with information so that we can be able to arrest the perpetrators.
As for Moraki, he says his hopes of reclaiming waste at Averda are over. The wounds have since healed, but he says he has to consult his traditional healer because the gangs used muti on him during the attack. Moraki says he's disappointed to leave Johannesburg empty-handed. He says he's worried about the future of his extended family in Lesotho, who depend on him to survive. Buraki says that once he has made a full recovery, he plans to return to Johannesburg, but he says he will never again set foot on Averda's landfill that is run by gangsters. He says he will go back to reclaiming waste on the streets, where despite other challenges, it's much safer.